In today's video, we'll be talking about the recent news with Credit Suisse. The stock recently dropped 24% on the news that the Saudi National Bank, which is Credit Suisse's biggest shareholder, announced that they would no longer be further increasing their stake in the company due to regulatory restrictions. As of now, they currently have a 9.88% stake with the company. In addition to this, Credit Suisse also recently published their 2022 annual report with their auditor, pricewaterhouse stating that they had identified material weaknesses in its financial reporting, and with customer deposit outflows totaling over 120 billion US dollars. However, before we go over the implications and effects that this crisis has had on the markets, I'll be giving you guys a little bit about the background and details of the events that has led Credit Suisse into its current state. So Credit Suisse is a global investment bank and a financial services firm that, like many other banks, have multiple lines of businesses. These include their asset management division, which helps invest money into funds, an investment bank division, which helps clients with financing, loans, and IPO listing, and most importantly, their wealth management division, which protects the wealth of their clients, which includes many of the world's richest and most powerful people. The reason why Credit Suisse has attracted many of these types of clienteles is due to Switzerland's reputation for its stability on a global stage, as they remain neutral on a lot of global issues. And also they have their bank secrecy laws, which provides anonymity to their depositors. And also they have a luxury private banking concierge service. So it is to no surprise that they offer a lot of these banking and investment services to people that include politicians, high-level executives, billionaires, and even some human traffickers and drug smugglers. And now we will get into the recent problems and scandals that it has faced during the past couple of years. So firstly, in 2019, there was an internal conflict between the then CEO Tejang Tian and their wealth management executive Iqbal Khan. This conflict escalated to the point where the CEO hired a spying firm, which followed Iqbal Khan. And upon realizing that he was being followed, he confronted these men, which then led to the ousting of the CEO. Secondly, 2 years after this happened, Credit Suisse was faced with their most tumultuous year in the bank's 166-year history due to the two major scandals that happened. The first scandal was called the Greensill supply chain incident, where Credit Suisse raised $10 billion from their wealthy clients and told them that they would invest into certain bonds that were deemed very safe. However, there were many allegations of fraudulent activities that took place during this investment process, which caused them to lose $2.3 billion of the initial $10 billion that was invested. So the second scandal was a bit more well known, especially within the Wall Street bets community, which involved an investor known as Bill Hwang. So Bill Hwang borrowed about $160 billion from various banks to help him in his leverage trading activity that took place in his family office, which he called the Archegos Capital Management. And unfortunately, after a series of losses caused by the market downturn in growth stocks in 2021, Bill Hwang then lost most of the money he borrowed. And it was known only after the fact that Credit Suisse had also lent him money and took a $5 billion hit from Bill Hwang's YOLO trades. And so Credit Suisse ended the 2021 year with a total of $7 billion loss. So both of these scandals showed the huge deficiencies in Credit Suisse's risk management department. On top of all of this, there were also many other incidents that occurred, which included the Mozambique funding embezzlement, and they also helped a former Bulgarian wrestler run a cocaine smuggling ring. But we won't get into the details of that. And so what does this mean for the markets, right? So fast forward to today, the Swiss Central Bank has officially intervened and said they'll be lending Credit Suisse $54 billion US dollars in order to boost liquidity and calm investor concern. And a statement made from the CEO, which quote, "We're taking measures to demonstrate decisive action to strengthen Credit Suisse as we continue our strategic transformation." This follows after the CEO decided to sell off part of its Credit Suisse investment bank, and also after he cut thousands of jobs. And he also further stated that my team and I are resolved to move forward rapidly to deliver a more simple and more focused bank built around client needs. And so at the time of this video, the stock has rebounded from $1.7 Swiss francs to $2.05, while the yields on the bank's bonds have dropped slightly, with their 5-year credit default swaps, which shows investors' bearishness fell from 980 basis points to 895, giving a slight room of relief for Credit Suisse investors. And so whether Credit Suisse will make a turnaround will largely depend on how they manage the risk on their investments going forward, as well as their ability to avoid these scandals in the future. In terms of how this affects the global market and the US economy, well, there may be some contagion effects from this crisis, as this could affect other banks from other regions in Europe, as well as in other countries, as they have around 1.3 trillion assets under management. And also due to the rapid rate of increase in interest rates by the US Federal Reserve over the past year, a lot of these other large banking institutions who hold a lot of bonds in their portfolio have also taken big hits, as we've now seen some regulatory bodies step in and help them out, as Credit Suisse received $54 billion in help, as well as the recent depositor bailout and the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. And so there's a lot of fear and uncertainty in the markets right now, primarily due to the recent banking crisis. So we may see a slight downturn or even some sideways actions in the stock and cryptocurrency market. But most importantly, we will have to see what the Fed decides to do in their next meeting on March 22nd, and whether they decide to pause rates or increase rates by 0.25 basis. And that will largely decide where the market goes for the next couple of weeks. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be doing more market news and updates on the biggest headlines affecting the market, so I hope I'll see you guys in the next video.